Good morning, and it is day 46, and it is Sunday, the 17th of May, 2020. And if you haven't looked out your window yet this morning, it is rather cloudy and rather wet, and I think that's the forecast for the rest of the day. But this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. And we're back to the Psalms, Psalm 23 today, and it's simply under the title of Shepherd. For many people, even those who have been detached from the church for years, the 23rd Psalm is a favourite, and most know it off by heart. In pastoral visitation, I tend to read it from the King James Version, as the language used in it seems to add to its beauty and certainly the memory of those that I read it to. And so I'm using that today on this well-known illustration for this. As a wee boy in Great James's Street in Londonderry, the Sunday school superintendent, Mr. Morrison, would occasionally take the children's talk in church, and oh my, it seemed as long and as dreary as the sermon. But these things are like that whenever you're only a wee boy, aren't they? But this is what he said, and I have never forgotten it. The Lord God is our good shepherd who never leaves us, and his two sheepdogs of goodness and mercy follow us hard on our heels, if you like, at times, all the days of our life. What a memory of a godly man from around about 54 years ago. Yeah, that long ago. But simply read this little chapter, line by line, friends. It's just amazing. First one's, the Lord is my shepherd. And this line speaks about a relationship with God, my relationship with God. M for me and Y for you, God. And of course, David could personalize this too as well. The Lord is my shepherd. Can you do the same today? Second bit is, I shall not want. This line gives us an assurance that God will supply all of our needs, not necessarily our wants. And then we read on, he maketh me to lie down in green pastures. That's rest, friends, isn't it? Think of David in the mountains around Bethlehem watching his sheep. Only when he was absolutely convinced that all was well could he lie down and rest himself. And God takes the lead here with us. Peter was able to say to the churches in modern day Turkey, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Only when we do this, friends, can we have peace in our hearts that all will be well. We read on. He leadeth me beside the still waters. That's refreshment, friends. I have been told that sheep do not like fast-flowing water, maybe with good reason, but they are calmer and much happier beside still waters. As God's sheep, he leads us to many places, doesn't he? Some of them are hilly, some of them are rough, some of them are nice and calm. But there is no better place to be than in his presence, safe and secure, knowing that he calms the heart and refreshes our souls. Well, then we come to the next bit. It says, he restores my soul, and that's healing, friends. Not the physical type necessarily, but the spiritual. All those knocks that we get that test our faith, that make us question and search for answers. The anguish we go through when a fellow believer says something nasty and it really hurts us. Or anger at God when we feel, look, he's just not answering my prayers as quickly as I would like. And friends, in the midst of this, he restores our soul. And he gives us his peace to lie down in those green pastures beside the still waters of his amazing grace. Well, then the next line is, he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness. Well, that's guidance, friends, isn't it? But if we want to be guided, we must be willing to be either directed or led. But that's the beauty of sheep. They know their own master and wouldn't want to follow anyone else. Friends, why would we want to do that? Why would we want to follow or get our help or guidance from anybody else whenever we are God's sheep? The next one is for his name's sake. There's purpose. And in Christ, that's what we have. We have a reason to get up on this damp, cold, miserable Sunday morning, a reason to sing his praises, a reason to be sad even on this Lord's Day when we cannot be together in the church. And as I look out here, I can see Dunedin, for example, from the study window, and I just wish we were there. But in all that we do this day, folks, let's give God the glory. Well, the next one is a longer line, and it says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." Well, there's testing, there's protection, there's faithfulness, and there's discipline, all rolled into one. And how God in these days is working his wonders, not just amongst us, his people, but amongst the people of the world as well. Because there has been great testing. And yet for many there has been great protection also against COVID-19 and so many other things. And in our isolation, we have had to learn a new discipline, haven't we? Something that this generation will never forget, to just be still. Be still. Be calm. And yet we can still see the faithfulness of our God towards us. It finishes with, "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over." That's hope, consecration and abundance. The hope that we have is no imaginary thing, just like that room in God's house that is prepared for us, prepared for those who are saved. So is our place at the table of the Lord in heaven. Revelation 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and dine with him, and he with me." There's our hope on a plate, friends. This table prepared in front of our enemies, set apart for God, and our joy runs over at our salvation. What an amazing God we have. Finally, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And we're back to where we were at the start, aren't we? We have blessing, we have security, and we have eternity with God. What a blessing it is to be a believer. What a blessing it is that God's own two sheepdogs of goodness and mercy follow us all the days of our life. Hasn't God been good to us, friends? Hasn't he shown us his mercy in saving us, grace whenever we sin, and the security of knowing that no matter what, we are safe and secure in the hands of the Good Shepherd, now and for all eternity? My friends, on this Lord's Day, the Lord bless you real good.